Today, I want to show you how to make pear preserves. Now, I have a formula that I've worked on for a few years, and basically you weigh your pears, you use 66% of the weight of those pears in sugar. So if you have like 1,000 grams of pears, of prepared pears, you'll put 666 grams of 660 grams of sugar in there with it. So that's what we're going to do today. These are the pears, came off of a Orient pear that I planted several years ago, and they're just now getting beautiful. And pears are one of the few fruits that do better if you pull them before they fully ripen on the tree. Here's one that's the birds have picked that kind of ripened. You can see it's yellow, and it just does not do as well as it does when you pull them before. And the way you know when it's time to pull them, the pear be hanging like that, and you get it and you pick it up like you're looking under it. And if it comes off when you pick it up, it's ready. If not, leave it on there. Come back, check it again a day or so later. And that's how you tell. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to peel these and cut these up in about 1/4 inch pieces. You can slice them lengthways or cut them in wedges and cut them this way, as long as you have them in about 1/4 inch, because you want good pieces to put on there. And basically what you're doing, you're candying the pears. And so I'll peel them, cut them, put them in a solution of vitamin C water, that's cold water. And I'll get a bunch in there and slosh it around, then I'll transfer them over to here. And then what I will do is pour I'll know what this weight is, and I'll weigh the prepared pears, and then I'll put 60% of that weight, 66% of that weight in sugar in there, stir it up, and let it sit overnight. And it'll draw all of that pear juice out, and then tomorrow I will put them in the pot, turn the heater on, and reduce it down. And then we'll do that, I'll show you that later. So, I'm gonna peel these. I'm assuming you know how to peel a pear and cut it up. So I won't go through all that. So I'll come back later when I've got all this done. Yeah. We've got a whole bunch of pears here. My wife helped me peel these things. I've got my ground up vitamin C and cold water in there, and as I put them in there, I'll just kind of shake it up to make sure they're covered, and you can see they haven't changed any color. But what I do, and you can do it any way you want to, I just cut the ends off like that. And I like this peeler. You can use whatever you want to. And then you'll see when you're cutting up these pears that there will be hard places in them. In some years it's worse than others. Some pears are more prone to it than others. And you just have to cut those little nodules of almost like calcified pear out and cut around it and go on about your business, because you don't want those in your preserves. Now some people, add other stuff to them, like, make pear jam or whatever, jelly. But I like the whole preserves. What I do is I quarter it down the center, like that. And then cut that core out, cut the core out like that. Real easy. And with that bad spot. You can see that kind of little hard spot right there, kind of calcified. Just cut that out. There's one. Got them all done. Now you can cut them lengthways like this, or cut them like this. And I like to do it this way. Cut them just about 1/4 of an inch. Put them in there, a little spot on there. Then just mix it up so that they get that vitamin C on them and they won't turn. I may have a little bit more than one batch here. We'll see. You still have a lot of pears to go. I may end up giving some away. All right. Oops. Look at there, see there's a bad spot. You cut that off. Now then, what I will end up doing is transferring these over to here to get, so I don't have all that, I can save that vitamin C water. I'll weigh those. I'll zero out the scale when I put this on there, then add it to it, then I'll know what exact weight I have of prepared pears. And then I'll add 66% of that weight in sugar. So we'll come back. All right, now what I've done is I measured, weighed the prepared pears at 3,360 grams. That's about 7.4, about 7.5 pounds of prepared pears. 66% of that weight will be, I'll add to sugar. So you multiply that times 0.66 and you get 2,218 grams of sugar. That's a little over, that's just about 11 cups. So I put that in there, put the pears in this bigger pan. I was planning on doing it in that pan to put it in, but it's too small. And I just spread it out like this, cover them up. Kind of shake it around a little bit, smooth them out, so hopefully I can get that lid on. And what we'll do is let this sit overnight. Now you can refrigerate it or you can just set it out on the cabinet, it'll be fine. And it'll draw all that sugar, will draw all so much of that water, and it'll be sitting in the liquid in the morning, and I'll show you that. Let's talk a little bit about why I use grams versus ounces and pounds. There's 28 grams to 1 ounce. So you can do much more precise measuring with grams, and the metric system is so much easier. And that's not that important when you're doing this. You can be off quite a bit on this sugar. But when you're baking, like if you're using grams or measuring grams versus ounces in salt, it makes a big difference. So I just kind of converted all my recipes to where I can measure and weigh. And that way, if I'm mixing something, I can just stick it in a pot and pour all that stuff in there and measure it, zero it out, measure the next ingredient without messing up a bunch of measuring cups and other bowls and stuff. All right, I'm gonna put a top on this, set it aside. We'll see you in the morning. Well, it's the next day. Yesterday, if you recall, we peeled the pears, slice them up, cord and slice them, and put them in the pot with some sugar. And I gave you the ratio of 66% sugar to the amount of pears. So they sat overnight, all day yesterday and overnight, and look here what they look like. You can see Now I added no water to that. All this water came out of these pears. And it was stacked, it was piled up to here. I barely had enough to put the lid on. In fact, the sugar touched the lid. And you can see how they shrunk. All that water's out of them. And what we'll do now is we'll turn the heat on, bring this up to a simmer, and watch it very closely until it reduces down and these pears become amber color. And so we'll keep monitor that and time it and show you how it progresses so you can do this. So we'll check back with you here in a little while. Well, it's been about 15-20 minutes now. We've started the pears on a boil, and as you can tell, there's a brisk simmer. And one thing I forgot to mention previously is I always add a few thin slices of lemon to it. That adds a brightness to the pear preserves and also helps in the gelling. The acid helps in the jelly process. So anyway, you can see how it's just a little brisk simmer. Now over here I've got my jars heating up, and this pot will be for the lids that I'll put in there and sterilize. And then over here I've got my setup. I'll put the jars whenever and turn them, and then I'll put the lids, and then whenever I put the pot here, and then we'll put it into the half-pint jars and seal. And it's very important to have all this stuff in place before you start. So anyway, the pears are starting to turn. We'll see how long this takes to get down to where it needs to be, and we'll go from there. So we'll check back with you here in a little bit. Okay, it's been an hour of them after it's come to a boil. It's been 1 hour of sitting here simmering. So let me show you what they're looking like now. You can see the change in color. They're starting to get a little darker, a little bit more amber color. And so we're gonna keep cooking. It's gotten a little thicker, but you can see kind of the rate which we're doing that, which is just about perfect. Some of them are starting to look good. So we'll check back with you here in a little bit. Okay, you can see now that it's been about an hour and 35 minutes, 40 minutes. It's coming to a boil. I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to let it go down. Go down. Let's see what it looks like. Voila. Now they will absorb the juice a little bit more and kind of get a little bit darker once they sit a while in the jar. So now then we're fixing to can it. So we'll pick up there in just a minute. Now the pears are ready. The jars have been boiled and sterilized, so have the lids. And so now then what we're going to do is jar them up. We've got this little funnel here for canning funnel. Boy, look at those, they're beautiful. When we first put these in, and if you get one of the lemon peels, it won't hurt to let it go in there also. all the way because you gotta leave room for it to seal. And we'll put a little juice in. Get the air bubbles out. Look at there, there's a lemon seed right there on top. Oh well, add a little crunch. Wipe it off. Put a lid on. Put a ring. And seal. There. All right, so we've got them all jarred. We ended up getting out of this thing full of pears, 8 half pints of really pretty. You know, you can see how they've kind of turned. I've tried to get all the air bubbles out of there, and that's gonna make a beautiful, beautiful treat. Now then, you can see the syrup. We had some syrup left over. Now what you can do with that is jar it up and pour it over your pancakes or waffles or whatever, and it makes a really good syrup. That's nothing but pear juice, if you recall. So anyway, that's that, and we'll be doing fig preserves, so you might check back and see how to do fig preserves. So anyway, hope you enjoy, and don't let it, it's real easy to do. You just have to be all set up. So happy canning.